All right, so I guess this is where I gotta come clean. A few posts ago, I made reference to the fact that something happened, and so I guess this is a quick video to share with you since you've chosen to come along on this journey, even if it's vicariously. That's cool. Wish you were here. Anyway, so I have a testimony and a confession. I'm sitting in a lodge in South Fork, Colorado, which is a little ways from Creed, and it's Wednesday the 21st of July, and tomorrow I'm going to the clinic, medical clinic in Creed, and here's why. So I left my last resupply stop, which was Monarch Mountain Lodge, and the day before I went for that resupply, I had hiked through the rain for about 5 or 6 hours, and it was cold, and not that that was an issue, but I had been breathing really hard. You might have noticed that on some of the videos, I don't know. Anyway, I was breathing hard and wheezing a little bit, not wheezing, but it was like I couldn't get full deep breaths. So I didn't think much of it because by way of confession, I'm stubborn. And so anyway, I you march on and you hike on. So after that resupply, I hiked about 14 miles that day as I got taken up to the trailhead. And there was I had a headache for 2 or 3 days. I didn't think much of that either because I had hiking to do. So anyway, I hiked up about 14 miles, and I could tell that there was some, like some fluid in my lungs. Didn't think much of that either. That night, after my resupply, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like really starving for air. I couldn't breathe, literally. And scared me pretty good. I thought I was just maybe claustrophobic in the tent, although that had never happened. So I crawled outside of the tent, and I just couldn't take a breath. I couldn't get air into my lungs, and scared me a little bit. I could actually sit up and breathe reasonably, and so I spent most of the night just sitting up in my tent. And so the next morning I got up and everything seemed to be normal. So I made, my 2 Starbucks instant coffees, and I had my Pop-Tarts, which I really like, out on the trail. And I packed up, loaded up, put my pack back on, and got back on the trail. The first 50 yards or so were flat, and then I had to go up a hill. And as soon as I started to go up that hill, it just hit like a ton of bricks. I was gasping for breath. In fact, it got so bad I felt like I was drowning. And that's a pretty scary thing. And so I got my emergency SOS button. I got my InReach out, and I thought, all kinds of things are going through your head pretty quickly at this point. And so I was thinking, well, I can press the SOS and they can come rescue me, because I literally can't breathe. I'm on the ground at this point, and I know I got 14 miles to get back to Highway 50, but I can't take 5 steps because I can't breathe, and I'm hyperventilating. So here's the testimony, of course. I'm trying to figure out what to do, and not audibly, but about as audibly as it gets. In my spirit, I hear the Lord say, "Do you trust me?" And this isn't the first time that He's asked me this. And He does this once. "Do you trust me?" And I hear Him say, "Relax." And I do. I relax. And of course I say, "Yes, I trust you, Lord." And so at this point, the panic stops, and I can start taking a little bit deeper breaths, but not very much. And then he gives me a command that I hear again almost audibly. He says, "Trust me. Trust me." And I hear him say this over and over again. And I'm laying on the side of the trail, up in the mountains, by myself, hyperventilating, trying to relax, trying to breathe, and finding it extremely difficult. And so at this point, I'm crying out. Literally, I'm crying out. I trust you. I trust you. And after about 30 minutes of laying there on the side of the trail, I hear him, again in my spirit, I hear him say, "Get up and walk." And I'm actually, to be quite honest with you, I'm quite scared to get up and walk, because I felt like I was drowning, trying to breathe. You just can't get any air. And trust me, I never want to drown. That was a miserable experience. And he says, "Get up and walk." And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? So I'm laying on the side of the trail. I get my backpack. Actually, my backpack was still on. I never took it off. I'm just laying there on the side of the trail. So I get up and I take about 8 or 10 steps, and that's as far as I can go. I'm breathing, but super shallow. And he says, "Trust me." And so I take like 8 or 10 more steps, and it's okay. I can do it, but I can't breathe very well. And then, so for the next hour, I take like 10 steps, and then I wait for a couple of minutes so that I can continue to breathe. And then I take like 10 steps. This goes on for about an hour, and actually it starts to get better. And I must have heard him say 50 times, "Trust me." It's a command, "Trust me." So I do this. The next hour goes by, and it gets better and a little bit better, and I can actually breathe. Now I hadn't hiked in those 2 hours. I hadn't gone a quarter of a mile, because I didn't have any breath. And at the end of about 2 hours, I feel like it's getting better. I'm sensing that it's getting better. I'm breathing, not easy, but I'm at least breathing. And then I hear the Lord say this: "Breathe." I hear that word, breathe, and I stop and I take a breath, and the air rushes into my lungs like deep, and I don't hear another word from him. I just take a deep breath, and I can breathe all the way in. This is a 2-hour process. At that point, I am exuberant. I hike another 19 miles after that 2 hours of not going very far at all and being unable to breathe. And for the next 2 or 3 days, I can breathe deep, and I'm strong. The next day, as a matter of fact, I hike a 25-mile day. And everything is like better than it's been since I've been on the trail. And I can't wait. I'm debating whether to tell my wife, but I have to, I love my wife. I have to tell her what's going on. So I share this story, and it's an emotional thing. I tell this story about what happened and what God did. I'm telling you, God healed me on that trail over a period of 2 hours so that I could breathe. And so I share this story with her, and she's grateful that I did. But boy, did that open up a can of worms, because I can only communicate with her via text when I don't have cell service, which is very infrequently because I have this inReach device. So I get a text from her because she had told Pastor Tyler and Mark Bodycomb what I had told her. So now there's a conspiracy, I believe, so my wife says that you're going to Creed for a resupply, and I've made an appointment with a doctor there. Creed is a town of about 300 or 400 people up in the mountains here, and this cardiopulmonary thing, whatever it is. She said, you're going to the doctor. And I texted her back and said, I don't need a doctor. God healed me. I feel great. I've been pounding out miles. I can breathe deeper than I've ever breathed in my whole life. And she texts me back and she says, no, you don't understand. If you don't go to the doctor, I'm not sending you any more food resupply boxes. So, I kind of need to eat. That's important. And I, so I love my wife. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to the doctor. So here I am sitting in South Fork, which is 10 miles down the river from Creed. And tomorrow I have an 11 o'clock appointment with a doctor, and they kind of specialize in this high altitude sickness thing. And from what I understand, it's pretty serious. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm just going to continue to trust God. I feel great. So I'm going to the doctor, and we're going to figure this out. Now, the confession is, of course, is that I'm stubborn, I'm obstinate, I'm bullheaded, and if I don't think that they have any kind of treatment for this condition, this lung condition thing, if I even still have it, I believe God's healed me completely. But I'll tell you what, I'll take the vaccine. Not the COVID vaccine, but I'll take the vaccine for obstinance, stubbornness, bullheadedness, selfishness. I'll take that one because I got a lot of work to do on that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. That's kind of the long-winded version because I'm a long-winded kind of a guy. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm going to go to the doctor tomorrow, and they're going to give me the old Catholic one of these. Bless you, my son, hike on, or say, boy, you in trouble. So we're going to see what happens, and I'll let you know. So there you go, a testimony of the goodness of God, because God is good. I'm telling you, God healed me. I believe that to the core of my being. And what tomorrow brings, who knows?